Hi, my name is Alicia, and you are watching the Reptile Rendezvous. Are you tired of hearing the same old reptile care advice, or do you ever wonder if there's a better way to do things that nobody ever talks about? Well, this video might just be for you. I'm gonna share some of my most unpopular reptile opinions, the ones that go against what everybody commonly knows, and some of these might maybe surprise you. From budget-friendly reptile care to socialization in reptiles, this video is going to get to the nitty and gritty of certain topics. And as someone who has been keeping reptiles for about 5 years now, has 6 animals of her own, and spends way too much time actually researching these guys, I think I have a little bit of credibility when sharing my opinion, but of course this is meant to be taken very lightheartedly, so if you have any suggestions or things you want to add to this video, definitely leave it in the comments, but please be super nice and kind to everybody. So the first topic in this video is budget-friendly reptile keeping, and way too often we see people on social media especially keeping their animals in super expensive enclosures with really expensive brand name items, super expensive lighting, and all of these things are like shoved down our throats. And although I do agree that reptile keeping is not cheap whatsoever, I've spent $1,000 minimum on quite a few of my enclosures, it does not have to be as expensive as people like to portray it to be. Cutting corners is not the worst thing you can do as a reptile keeper. I know a lot of people like to make it seem that if you cut corners, you are going to kill your animal, but that is not the truth. If it's not to the detriment of your animal, it is sometimes okay to actually cut corners because it can reduce a lot of anxiety that you get while actually keeping reptiles. For example, I've gotten a lot of my wood pieces from the great outdoors. I know a lot of people like to be like, no, don't do that, it's really dangerous. But if you are actually properly prepping your wood and like baking it, soaking it in vinegar, anything that can kill off anything that is negative from outside. And also keep in mind, I live in Canada, so if I get these pieces of wood when it's -40 outside, nothing's living on them anyways, it's not gonna kill your animal to grab wood from nature. Heck, they live on wood in nature, in the wild. So if you're just cleaning this wood that you get outside, they'll be okay. Another major thing that bothers me in this topic is when people promote brands that don't necessarily have good customer satisfaction reviews in the first place. And these are people with big followings, so people are going to go buy these items and then they get severely disappointed. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, it was that brand. Now, this is not something that's hyper specific to the reptile community. All influencers do this. Tons of people promote things that don't actually work. But my gripe is that people who promote ethical care do this. And to me, how can you promote ethical care, but then also promote products like enclosures that break after 3 years or lights that go out after 4 months? These products are not ethical products because they're not beneficial to the animal whatsoever. If you're having to change their enclosure all the time because it keeps breaking, well, that's stressful to the animal. Now, moving on to the second topic, we're going to be talking about handling and socialization. A lot of times when you get a new animal, especially a younger one, people will push the narrative on you of socialization or making your animal less aggressive. Now, side rant, I think the word aggressive when being used to socialize animals is actually really bad because reptiles and other critters that you keep are not aggressive. They are defensive. You are probably, if you're in my case, a 5'4" human being, and in some of their cases, like my gecko who's this big, I am huge. I'm a giant. So this animal, if he wanted to be, would be defensive because he is scared or feels threatened. He is not aggressive, and that is a big caveat with that word, because when you say aggressive, then it encourages negative narratives around reptile keeping, like snakes are scary or big lizards are gonna kill you, stuff like that, because people hear the word aggressive. Now, done with my side rant. While part of the socialization concept is true, handling your animal on a more frequent basis does cause them to become more used to you and to trust you. In general, the concept of socialization is a human construct, and therefore it can be very detrimental to the animal because we are humanizing emotions and feelings that these animals do not have. Your reptile will always be a little bit wild. Just because they're domesticated, it does not mean that, like humans, they act perfectly and have great manners and all of those kinds of things, because they are animals. They are not humans. Even though humans are animals, but you get the concept. And oftentimes, frequent and non-stop, sometimes handling of your animals can actually cause them more stress than good. And trying to do this to socialize them, to create acceptable behavior based on what us as humans think is acceptable, is not beneficial to their natural needs at all. Understanding how your animal functions and what their wants and needs are is so much more beneficial than forcing them to do something you think that they want to do. For example, my Hog Island boa, Pandora, used to be super cage defensive. You would even sometimes walk by the cage and she'd hiss and strike at the cage. Now, as I've worked with her and taught her to trust me, she's actually been a lot better about it. But she still doesn't like coming out of her enclosure. It takes a little bit of work to get her out, and because I know that stresses her out, I only handle her when I absolutely deem it necessary, or when I'm like, I haven't handled her in a while, let me take her out just for a little bit so I can enjoy her. But that is for my own benefit. If it was up to her, she would never come out. She is very, very happy in her enclosure. Of course, there's still some benefits of her coming out. She does get to experience new things, which is extra enrichment for her. But the thing here is that she doesn't want to. And so forcing your animal to come out of their enclosure when you deem it necessary is not beneficial to them whatsoever. It causes a lot more stress and sometimes can actually break the trust bond that you've created with them throughout time. And keep in mind as well, if you're handling your animal around feeding days and then you wonder why they don't eat, that could be a big indicator, because large amounts of stress cause your animal not to want to eat. We just need to be really careful with how much we personify our animals, because sometimes they can actually lead to more harm than good. The final topic on this list is actually feeding practices and power feeding. This topic is a tad more personal to me because I actually have an animal who was power fed as a baby. So I actually got my bearded dragon Zeus when he was already 3 years old, and he's about 7 now. And the breeders who had him prior to me ever owning him actually power fed him a ton as a juvenile. This actually led him to be much bigger than your average bearded dragon, and although that might seem cool to people who don't know about this subject, it really isn't. He is susceptible to more health risk as well as a shortened lifespan, which obviously, as his mom, is very sad, because I would love for my boy to live as long as possible, but because of what his breeders did when he was young, it's no longer possible for him to live that capacity of years that bearded dragons can live at. And now, why do they do this? Well, breeders actually power feed animals in most cases because people think bigger animals are more impressive. If you see a huge Burmese python, you are more likely to be wowed than an average size one. But that's not a good thing. This Burm is now going to live less long and possibly have more complications throughout its life than the average one. Now, this topic obviously opens a huge can of worms when we're talking about unethical breeding practices, and I don't want to get into all of that, but I just saw a lot of oversized animals recently, and I just kind of felt the need to talk about it. Your pet should of course be getting a varied diet, following the standard amount of supplementation. You can look all of these things up on the internet. There's tons of amazing sources out there, but please just follow at minimum what they are telling you for feeding your animals. My 3-year-old bearded dragon, when I got him, should have not been recommended to me from his breeders to feed him 20 plus worms every single day or until he was full. He did not need that much food, and I did not give him that much food when I got him, but that's what they were still feeding him at 3 years old. To put it simply, if you want a big lizard, get a bigger species. Don't get a small species and then make them big, because that is to the detriment of your animal, and our animals are not for pleasure. Yes, of course, I love looking at my animals, but they are individuals at the end of the day. I did not get them to do whatever I wanted with them. That's not how that works. I hope this video maybe pushed you to think a little bit further about some things that you see in the reptile community. Not everything is black and white. There's a lot of gray area, and it's important to think about those things when you actually look into certain creators you follow, certain brands you support, certain videos you watch, animals you want to keep, etc. All of these things are really important to look at. And of course, like I said at the beginning, this video is not meant to attack anyone or anything in particular. It is really just to give my sort of unpopular opinions on different topics. But I'd love to hear your unpopular opinions in the comments below. I love hearing people's opinions about different things, so I'd love to see what you guys think and be able to actually engage in conversation with you guys. That being said, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more reptile content, you should definitely hit that subscribe button because I post every week. And if you also, enjoyed this video, I would definitely recommend you hit that like button as well as that notification bell so you know anytime I post a new fun video for you guys. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.